Hello everyone and welcome to the Blockchain Startup Show. I'm Ava Nabash. Now data, as we all know, is an integral part of everyone's life. The process of ingesting, storing, organizing and maintaining data is created and collaborated by an organization, and this is a tedious process. It's generally considered to be a very boring task in the Web 2 world. But with the advent of Web 3, what if we say that there's a platform that provides adaptive data management through private clusters on public infrastructure? Well, look no further and meet MOI. It's believed to be the world's first context-aware protocol for the emerging digitally interacting world. A technology enabling human interactions that are centered around the participant as opposed to machine-centric models of today. They do this by using blockchains and advanced cryptography, which helps users to control and own their data, network, cloud, and applications. In simple words, MOI equals my own internet, a personalized network that emulates human interaction. To know more about this, join me in welcoming the founder of MOI Protocol, Ananta Krishnan. Ananta, welcome to the Blockchain Startup Show. I want to get started at the basics. Let me ask you this. How do you think Web3 needs to evolve in order to support a digitally interactive world?
Thank you, Awan, for the question. See, the digitally interacting world simply means that we are using technology in new ways that we haven't used before. If you look at the evolution of technology, it has come a long way from 1950s to today, where progressively technology has gotten integrated into how we live our lives. So today it is, we no longer are connected by technology, we operate by technology. So this new dimension of how technology is being used is foundationally human-centric and how human beings operate. That's what we call as a digitally interacting society. And to support this, Web3 needs to become human-centric. It needs to become more equitable, simple, and sustainable. MOI fundamentally in French is moi, right? It's me. It's all about the individual, and that's how the name originated. But then we have multiple different variations of it: my own internet, my own interactions.
And how do you think the use of technology will be different for an emerging digital society?
Human interactions are foundationally personal, right? So the digital interactions need to get personalized. Kind of dimensions of assets that we want to transfer now have changed. So that's one change that's happened. And two, we are not supporting thousands of cryptocurrencies anymore. We want to be able to support billions of digital assets. So that's a big change. So that's the second change that's happening. And the third, probably critical change is we are moving from an app-centric model to a participant-centric model, right? It's getting more peer-to-peer. So human interactions are peer-to-peer. When I send you a message, it just sent to you. For example, this conversation I'm having with you, it's not with a lot of people. So the kind of language I want to use, the kind of privacy I want to have, the kind of ownership that I want to exhibit, all depends upon each interaction. So it's moving from an app-centric model to a participant-centric model. And finally, computers have always been about a programmatic model. It was a supporting actor. Now this is moving to an interactive model.
Right. Well, Ananta, technology is something that humans have built, but you also mentioned in your previous answer about humanizing networks. How exactly is that technologically possible?
Very, very, very good question. So this needs to go back to how we have used technology, right? The use of technology has changed, but the technology itself has not changed. So the foundational thing that we need to understand the role of technology has changed. So if you look at the way intelligent machines have been defined, what they call as Turing machines at a very high level, this is an idea of computation or technology which was developed about 100 years back. And that doesn't have participant as an attribute for computation at all. What I mean by that is this whole idea of individual being part of the computation and enabling the computation is not there. So the three things that today's computers look at is what data is being processed, where it is being processed, and how it is being processed. But there is no dimension of who's processing it. So without that being a foundational part of computation, you don't have a seat at the table. So participants or the users today get the opportunities to eat the meal. They don't have an opportunities to cook the meal, right? So your rights and preferences of identity, storage, compute are all driven by the applications and the tools, not by you. So what we have done is foundationally brought this idea of participants into computation using this concept called context, which fundamentally for the first time allows participants to drive the network or the computation as opposed to the network driving the participant and we being an attribute of that.
Got it. And how are you implementing this vision? How is core tech stack really supporting this?
We have built this new conceptual idea called at the foundation layer, something called a contextual compute machine. We call it as a K machine. Today, identity or Sally, for example, a user like Sally, is only recognized by the computer. It is just an identity. The computer does not understand Sally. So it is just a name and a form. In the contextual compute machine that we have built at the bottom, we call it as a K machine. Sally is understood. So we create something called the context, which is based on her behavior, right? Their objective behavior, her preferences across the network, the choices that she has taken, the values that she owns. On top of that, we have built something called an interaction state machine, which is an state machine replication technology. At a very high level, it allows balances and values to be associated with the participant. So we bring this idea of participants to be fundamentally associated with state, which allows us different capabilities and allows us to personalize and manage and execute interactions in a way that's not possible today. Today, the network drives how the participant operates. The participant is an attribute of the network. In this new model of contextual compute and MOI, the participant will drive how the network operates.
Tell us, Ananta, how you're delivering contextual state machine.
Interaction state machines foundationally are delivered by two models. One is obviously the IFP-CP protocol that I mentioned. The IFP-CP is nothing but a TCP/IP-like framework, which brings context into computation, and that allows you to personalize and execute interactions in a very scalable and secure manner. So that's the first level. So IFP-CP allows you hyper scalability, native interoperability, and complete user ownership and control. The second thing is we have built this MOI protocol for open systems. And there are the kind of key features that we have brought to bear is, one, we have built a new data structure, a completely new participant-centric data structure called MDAG, multi-linked composite DAG. It provides you flexibility and scalability without compromising security. So we have foundational data structure that we have brought in for participant centricity. And we have also built new Sybil resistant mechanisms, which are participant centric. We have built a new language called CocoLang, which is very specifically built for contextual programming, right? So this is programming which is very centered around digital assets and participants. So that allows us to get the degree of flexibility that we want. And we also have an identity mechanism which is centered around DID, but that attaches the context to an identifier that I talked before, which is around the three attributes of a participant's, their natural objective behavior, their random interactive behavior, and their preferential behavior. This is like human beings having three different types of behaviors that we have introduced into a context, which gets attached to an identity, which we called as MOI ID. So these are foundationally new elements of the entire stacks, all the way from an TCP AP-like framework to a basic foundational computation model, which allows participant centricity and human-like digital interactions.
Got it. And Ananta, can you delve a little bit deeper into MOI, its vision for a context-aware protocol?
Fundamental idea of MOI is to provide complete participant centricity and user ownership and control. That's the foundational idea. The idea being that is what is required for a digitally interacting world and for a human-centric model, because human centricity is all about personalization. So participant centricity, user ownership and control are the foundational ideas in MOI. Obviously, using this idea, which is the vision is to, our vision is to make an happy and equitable Web3, as I said early on. And happiness foundationally is all about having, at a very high level, control in your interactions, right? So if you feel that you're less anxious and have more control in an interaction, you tend to be more happy. So we allow that by the degree of flexibility and control that we provide people. Now, that's the fundamental goal. But in doing so, we have solved some of the foundational problems or inefficiencies that Web3 has today around security, privacy, and scalability. So we will, with MOI, we can have one flat internet of value with millions of nodes. You don't need shard chains, side chains, roll-ups, and all of that are good technologies, but they introduce enormous amount of complexity. So they're all a choice in MOI, not a necessity, as in today's network. So that makes everything simple. We don't have the trilemma problem because we don't solve it because it doesn't exist in our system. And so it makes the fundamental idea of MOI through this idea of participant centricity and the new stack that we have built ground up allows a high degree of simplicity, flexibility, scalability, and an equitable model for the emerging digital society. That's what the purpose of MOI is.
All right, on that note, let me take a very quick break. On the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Ananta Krishnan and get to know more about MOI. Welcome back. This is the Blockchain Startup Show. This week, we're featuring MOI, the world's first context-aware protocol for the emerging digitally interactive world. Tell us a little bit more about some of the exciting use cases that can be delivered using MOI and its underlying technology.
Obviously, all use cases of what is happening in today's Web3 can be built on MOI. But MOI specifically, for example, you want to have decentralized social media applications. So where people want to communicate, manage, and interact in a humanized fashion, where you want foundational ownership and control. MOI is a very good use case for that, right? And one interesting use case, what we call as a safe DeFi. So DeFi is very popular today, but as you know, there are quite a few hacks and security vulnerabilities in smart contract-based DeFi today. And that's primarily because the smart contract holds the value, right? The code and the value are integrated in a smart contract. In MOI, obviously, the code and value are separated. Value fundamentally sits with the participant. So it's like you owning the credit card in your wallet, not keeping it in a safe in a bank. today you can think of smart contracts as banks, and you'll have to go to the bank and pull up your credit card. If somebody breaks that safe, there are problems. But in MOI, it's the credit card sit in your wallet, like in your pocket. So and that allows a high degree of security. So safe DeFi is a very interesting use case. Also, peer-to-peer gaming, right? Because if people today have peer-to-peer gaming is becoming very popular. So if you want to work across multiple chains, all ISM-based chains, people will be able to move from one game to another game and take their digital assets along with them, as opposed to working through bridges and connectors, which brings a lot of complexity and security issues. So peer-to-peer gaming will be another use case. And the last one, which is a very interesting use case, is enterprises wanting to move from Web 2 to Web 3. One of the largest problems that we have whenever you have transformational change of this level is change management, right? So Web 2 system do exist. There are a lot of investment into Web 2 system enterprises have made. So how can Web 3 systems coexist and move from Web 2 to Web 3 in a practical fashion? MOI is a very, very good use case there, because we have decoupled identity, storage, compute, and ledger. And that provides a lot of flexibility. It is not an all or nothing smart contract type model. And so the practical migration from Web 2 to Web 3 for enterprises is a very good use case.
And can you also give us some insight into the traction that MOI has garnered since the testnet launch?
We currently, after the testnet launch, we currently have about 1,300 nodes on our network. But the exciting part for us is not just having 1,300 nodes. These 1,300 nodes are managed by truly distributed set of validators, right? That is measured by a metric called Nakamoto coefficient in the industry. We have the highest Nakamoto coefficient. So it's a truly distributed network that we have built. We are also partnering with multiple infrastructure providers like Speron to build the world's largest decentralized network. We are ambitious. Our goal is to have 1 million nodes across the network in about 5 years, but we are targeting about 250,000 in the next 3 years.
So Ananta, what are your plans to build a vibrant user and developer community that builds on MOI?
So there are about 2-3 broad ideas that we have. We have this initiative called MOI Nation, which is an initiative to bring 1 million people into Web3. We do that targeting colleges, college students, young developers who want to learn contextual compute. And this no-code, low-code capability allows people to get in, experiment without the fear of being at least creating a security risk. So this allows people to get in. So we have this idea of MOI Nation, which is a GPM, which allows developers to get on. We also were ambitious. We want to bring at least in the next 12 months, at least 100 female entrepreneurs into Web3. So we have this program called MOI Shakti, where we coach, manage, and allow people to get in, especially female entrepreneurs who want to be part of the MOI ecosystem. So we have an incentivized testnet, which is already, we have significant portion, about 9% of our tokens allocated only for developers and validators who want to be part of this incentivized testnet. We call our validators guardians, because validators are for networks, guardians are for people. So guardians who want to come and help people transfer their values, we allocated about 9% of the tokens.
Right. Okay, and wanted to understand from you if you can give us some insight into the core team behind MOI.
Team, it is always the team, right? So I think so. We have an mix of youth and experience, right? So we just and so we have people who have contributed to Accenture, Google, Ethereum Research, JPMC, Cosmos, Polygon, PwC. So we have a good mix of people who have contributed to all of these companies who understand Web3 the challenges and the opportunities around Web3, and also the Web2 and enterprise focused resources who allow us to make it real. But more importantly, we are a culture which is not based on the star mentality. We are not a star culture. We are a very collaborative and partnerial culture in the company. So we work together to make things happen. We are very long-term focused. So our goal is to make the digital society a happier and an equitable place. So we are very long-term focused. Our targets are to really add value to the stakeholders in society. If we do that, obviously, our belief is everything else will take care of itself. So at a basic level, we look at decentralization as a means and personalization as the goal, so that people are happy and we support the individuals to manage and control the environment the way they want, because at the end of the day, values are foundationally personal, and a value network need to support human beings then.
Right. And what does the long-term roadmap look like for MOI in the year 2023?
So we had our testnet launch, the Indus testnet about near back. It has been a big success. We have our Babylon launch, which will be the first launch of an interaction state machine and a contextual compute machine coming to bear in June. And then we have another release called Almach, which is happening in September of this year, which will bring more Sybil resistant mechanism, the new Sybil resource around reputation, exciting stuff there. And then by the end of the year, we will have our mainnet launch, and also obviously have our token launch as well, so that people can participate in the network and provide support and provide security to the network as well. So that's this year. And then we also have quite a few releases next year around new language support, new execution models, and also a very interesting idea called Hanoi, which is around cooperative computing, which eliminates some of the proof creation problems of ZKP in a very intelligent way.
And finally, Ananta, what's the one thing that you want to share with anyone else, any advice that you may have about starting a Web3 company?
Be bold. Web3 is real. Be patient, right? Changes of this magnitude take time. And be real. Listen to people and see the technology can add real value, right? So be bold, be patient, be real.
All right, Ananta, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining in. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on yet another episode of the Blockchain Startup Show. This is me, Avan Dabash, signing off.